So let's start our discussion of rules and trees. Rules and trees. Now we have the tools necessary to develop a simple theory of sentence structure. We have a notion of constituent, which is a group of words that functions as a unit. And we have labels, or a parts of speech that we can use to describe the parts of those units. So let's put the two of these together and try to develop a description of a possible English sentence. In generative grammar, generalizations about structure are represented by rules. These rules are said to generate the tree. So if we draw a tree a particular way, we need a rule to generate that tree. The rules we're going to consider in this chapter are called phrases structure rules, or the PSRs, because they generate the phrase structure tree of the sentence. First, we have to look very carefully nouns and how to identify them and its different types. So noun phrases consists of one or more words that are grammatically connected with a noun at its head. So for you to understand more about noun phrases, let me show different examples. The very old shoe. In this first noun phrase, shoe is the head word, and the other word appointing to the head word is the very old. It gives us information about the head word. Which shoe? The shoe that we had talked about earlier, the shoe that I'm pointing to, the shoe. So what type of shoe? Well, a very old shoe. So shoe is the head of the phrase and shoe is a noun. Just a side note here, very is not directly pointing to the shoe but rather to old, which is pointing to shoe. So it's still part of the whole noun phrase. Next, number 2 is 20 hats. 20 is telling us how many hats there are. So they are grammatically related and hats is a noun. Number 3, mobile phone. What type of phone? Mobile is itself a noun, so that means a noun phrase can have two nouns, where one noun is modifying the other. Next, my thick textbook is a noun phrase very similar in the first noun phrase I have given a while ago, which is the very old shoe. It has a determiner my, an adjective thick, and then the head noun is textbook. And they're all pointing to it. So in number 1, that is the determiner, old is the adjective, and very is describing old. Or as comes from modifying old, the noun itself, shoe. So number 5, a book of magic. This is a fascinating example because the modification comes after the head noun instead of before, as shown in the other examples. So we have two nouns here, book and magic. And even though magic is a noun and it's the end of the phrase like all these other head nouns, it's actually not the head noun because magic is modifying book and the book is not modifying magic. What kind of magic is it? A book magic? No. What kind of book is it? Well, it's a book of magic. So therefore, we can recognize that the book is the head noun and magic is not. Now, we know that magic is not the head noun because it follows a preposition. So we can conclude from that if a noun is following a preposition of or other preposition, it is acting as the modifier. Another example, the man on the moon. In the situation, the moon is following on and a jar of coffee. So coffee is following the preposition of. And these all have similar constructs. So you have seen in the definition of a noun phrase that says one or more nouns, this means that one noun by itself is a noun phrase that consists of single noun. Linguist presents the information in trees. Now, I am going to show you what a noun phrase might look like in a tree, and we are going to use the example number 1, the very old shoe. So at the top of this part of the tree, we have the noun phrase. That's what NP stands for. And then that noun phrase is divided into three, is divided into the determiner, which is the. It has an adjective phrase and then it has the noun. The noun is shoe. Now, the adjective phrase can be further divided into the adjective itself, which is old, and then that which is modifying the adjective, or the adverb that modifies the adjective, which is very. So the whole tree looks like that. That's what the linguists do with all kinds of sentences and phrases. They break it down into trees. Next, we have adjective phrases. We've seen that a noun phrase is a group of words with a noun at its head. Now, the adjective phrase shares a similar definition, but this time with an adjective at its head. An adjective phrase can include adjectives, adverbs, or they are called modifiers because they're modifying the adjective and conjunctions, and these all work together grammatically pointing to the adjective, and the adjective phrase describes the noun. So this means that a single adjective can also be an adjective phrase. So let's take a look at some adjective phrases together. First, we have the old heart-shaped black and white box was the pride of her collection. Our adjective phrase in this sentence is old heart-shaped black and white. So that's our adjective phrase. Adjective phrase, AP for adjective phrase. Now, and in here is a conjunction, but it's joining together black and white, so it's still part of the adjective phrase. It's pulling them together, those two adjectives, black and white. So black is an adjective and white is an adjective also, and the conjunction and is pulling them together. Next, number 2 is the days are becoming increasingly longer. Now, in this situation, increasingly longer is our adjective phrase. So that's AP for adjective phrase. Longer is a gradable, shows that long is gradable. It's the comparative form of long, and increasingly, and the word increasingly here is modifying longer. So longer is an adjective in its comparative form, and increasingly is an adverb modifying the adjective, and they're both part of the adjective phrase, all pointing to longer. Number 3 is she saw 3 sleek gold sports cars. So 3 sleek gold, that would be our adjective phrase. You'll notice that there's number 3, which is an adjective as well. Number 4, give me 2 very good reasons. Why not? So the adjective phrase here is 2 very good. And of course, the 2 very good is adjective phrase that is all describing the word reasons. So once again, we have our numerical 2. Very is the word very is the adverb or modifier, which is actually modifying the word good. It's not very reason, it's very good reasons. So that's all part of the adjective phrase. Number 5 is a little girl is walking down the street. Little is our adjective phrase here, and this adjective phrase has only one adjective in it, and that one adjective is little, describing the girl. Now, we might take a little bit of time here to look at the order that the adjectives are written in. So, as English speakers, we just say our adjectives in a certain way without thinking about what order we say them in. So, but if we said gold three slick sports cars or heart shaped white and black watch, it really sounds a little bit weird. We feel a bit confused by it, and that's because we do actually have a set order form, adjectives, and this is the proper order. So I put them down the side in the order I am talking about. So we have the quantity or number, like two or three, the quality or opinion, good, size, either small, big, age, old, shape, square, color, red, proper adjective, Australian, purpose or qualifier, like a musical. I have some example here. The six little round red tennis balls. And then tennis balls, which is the noun, and the end in tennis is a noun. Is a noun, not an adjective. So it's a noun modifier. So it's not going part of this adjective phrase. Next, we have the adverb phrase. Adverb phrase is a type of sentence or group of words that has the same ultimate meaning as an adverb. Therefore, adverbial phrases are often used as replacements for adverbs themselves. So, a professional prepositional phrase used as an adverb in the sentence. So, we are going to start by looking for prepositional phrase in the sentence, and we will decide what word in the sentence. Now, I have two examples here. First, my brother and I found several wrapped presents under the tree on Christmas morning. First, we start by looking for prepositional phrases in the sentence. First is the phrase under the tree, and another one is the phrase on Christmas morning. Now that we already found the prepositional phrases in the sentence, we are going to start looking at what they are actually doing. So what is the function of phrase in the sentence? The phrase under the tree. If we look at that a little more closely, under the tree telling where we found the presents, and because it's telling where, that makes as an adverb phrase in the sentence. The second prepositional phrase is on Christmas morning. On Christmas morning tells when we found that, and again, because it's telling when, which is an adverb question, that too is going to be an adverb phrase in the sentence. You get that? Number 2, during the winter. My family often rents a cabin for a week. We are looking now for a prepositional phrase in the sentence, so we can see at the beginning of the sentence and for a week, or the phrase for a week here at the end of the sentence. When we start looking at the role in the sentence, what is the function of the prepositional phrase? So the phrase during the winter is telling when we rent, and because it's telling when, it's also an adverb question. The phrase for a week is also telling when, or it's essentially telling how long. Sometimes you can look at that for an adverb to how long or duration of time we rented for a week. So by this, anytime you see a prepositional phrase that appears at the beginning of the sentence and it's set off there by a comma, it's always going to be an adverb phrase. That's kind of an absolute rule. The reason of comma is there. That's just a grammatical structure kind of to show you that it's set off from the subject, but good rule of that is if you have a prepositional phrase at the beginning of the sentence, it's almost always an adverb. So might be helpful for you. Thank you.
Oh, it's my turn now. Okay, I've been waiting here for a decade, I guess. By the way, my name is Shekinah Marie, and I am the sister of Inigo. Yeah, you heard it right. I am also the daughter of that trophy wife trend on TikTok. I don't know what's with mommy. She always posts on TikTok, but I guess just that's just her. So let's just start my report, and I am going to report some of the rules from rule of trees, which is the prepositional phrase and the verb phrases. So I am going to start my report about prepositional phrase with a question. What is prepositional phrase? Let me use the simplest way by telling you the sentence pattern. Prepositional phrase is a group of words with preposition plus object plus modifier. First, before we proceed, let us see or let us review what is preposition. Preposition are words that show a connection or relationship between the words in a sentence. What is objective or object? Object is noun or pronoun that comes after the preposition. What is modifier? Modifier are words or a word that describe or modify the object. For example of a prepositional phrase, the first example is at school. The second example is before the game. And the third one is from my mom. So let us see. The prepositional phrase at school has two words only. Our preposition there is at. Our object is school. We don't need to use modifier to modify the word school. And our second sentence or example, before the game. The word before is our preposition, the is our modifier, and game is our object. The third one, from my mom. From is our preposition, my is our modifier or our determiner, and mom is our noun in the sentence. So I will give you some examples of prepositions. Those are about, above, across, after, against, along, among, around, before, and behind. So those are just some example of preposition. Prepositional phrases tells details, time, phrase, direction, and other information in sentence. Below are several examples of prepositional. Let's start with a prepositional phrase when it comes to time. The first example, before the game. As you can see, our preposition there is before. Determiner, the, and our noun is game. And our place is across the street. Our preposition is across. Determiner, the. Noun is street. And also our direction. The sentence is to my sister. The preposition there is to. Determiner, my. Noun, sister. And there's a lot of examples of prepositional phrases such as despite the problem, with my family. So those are just some of the examples. So I will give you an example. Our example is to my sister. The prepositional phrase rule appears to be our preposition is to. Our noun phrase is my sister. Noun phrase consists determiner and a noun. My is our determiner. Sister is our noun. When we say my sister, that is our noun phrase. In the rule we've given, the noun phrase in the prepositional phrase is obligatory. There may actually be some evidence for treating the noun phrase in prepositional phrase as optional. There is class of traditionally called particles. As an exercise, you might try to think about the kinds of phenomena that would distinguish particles from preposition without noun phrase. Next, we have the category headed by the verb. The verb phrase. Minimally, a verb phrase consists of a single verb. This is the case of intrasentives, verb plus noun phrase. Our example here is Ignacio left. Our verb here is the word left. And of course, always remember that verbs may be modified by the adverbs, which are, of course, optional. For example, Ignacio left quickly. Our verb phrase there is left quickly. Our verb is left. Our adverb is quickly. Interestingly, many of these adverbs can appear on either side of the verb, and you can have as many adverbs as you like. For example, Ignacio deliberately always left quiet early. Our verb phrase there is deliberately always left quietly early. Our adverbs here are deliberately, always, quietly, and early. And our verb is left. There is a subcategory of verbs that can take a noun phrase object. These noun phrases appear immediately after verb and before any adverb phrases. For example, Bill kissed his mother-in-law quietly. Our verb phrase there is kissed his mother-in-law quietly. Our verb is kissed. Our noun phrase is his mother. Determiner his, noun mother-in-law. And our adverb phrase is quietly, which is an adverb. It is also possible to have two noun phrases in a sentence. Both noun phrases must come between the verb and any adverb phrases. For example, I spared the student any embarrassment yesterday. The student and any embarrassment, those are our noun phrases. Yesterday is our adverb phrase, and spared is our verb. So let's go with the tree. Our verb phrase is spare the student any embarrassment yesterday. Our verb there is spare. Our noun phrases are the student and any embarrassment. The first noun phrase consists determiner and noun. Determiner is the word the. Noun is the word student. And our second noun phrase, it is consist with determiner and noun, of course. The determiner is any, noun is embarrassment. And our adverb phrase, which is an adverb, is yesterday. And always remember, you are allowed to have a maximum of only 2 argument noun phrases. Verbs can be modified by prepositional phrases as well. These prepositional phrases can be arguments as in the transitive verbs of the type or they can be. Simple modifiers prepositional phrases like for a dollar. Those prepositional phrases can appear either after an adverb or before it. For example, Bill frequently got his buckets from the store for a dollar. Our verb phrase there is frequently got his buckets from the store for a dollar. Our adverbs there are, or our adverb phrase there is frequently. Verb is got. Noun phrase is his buckets. Prepositional phrases from the store and for a dollar. Our preposition from the first prepositional phrase is from. Determiner the, noun store. Our preposition for the second prepositional phrase is for. Determiner a, and noun is dollar.